The story begins with a terrified priest named Joseph, praying to God for mercy while an exorcism is taking place inside a room. Father Joseph gathers his courage and enters, only to find a possessed girl clinging to the wall. The narrative then shifts to 1 month earlier, when it all began. In October 1928, in Escalating, Iowa, USA, we see Father Joseph in a church, reading passages from the Bible to the congregation seated in the hall. He then thanks those who sent cards and flowers to express their condolences for his brother's passing. Later, in his office, he is visited by Bishop Edward. The bishop asks how he is doing, and then hands him a thick file containing psychiatric reports on a troubled woman named Emma Schmidt. Bishop Edward explains that the doctors found nothing abnormal during Emma's treatment. The local parish therefore wants to conduct an exorcism, and an experienced priest named Theophilus Reisinger is assigned to perform it. The ritual is to be carried out right in this parish. Father Joseph expresses his reluctance, suggesting that Emma needs medical treatment rather than an exorcism. Bishop Edward dismisses this suggestion and instructs Joseph to prepare to join Father Theophilus Reisinger. Then, the bishop leaves, leaving Joseph wavered. The same night, Emma, the troubled woman, is brought to the parish in a wagon. She is escorted by a few sisters of the parish. Father Joseph leaves to fetch Mr. Theophilus Reisinger, but Mr. Theophilus appears in the church himself and excuses Father Joseph for not picking him up in time. Mother Superior welcomes Father Theophilus and respectfully asks him to have a seat. She tells both the priests that she is also disturbed after examining Emma's file. Then, Father Theophilus appreciates Mother Superior for being cooperative and allowing him such a safe space to treat afflicted Emma. He explains to Mother Superior that he needs a team of 3 in the room to assist with restraints, transition, shorthand, and Father Joseph will be the one who takes notes, keeping an accurate chronology of manifestations and evidence. Minutes later, Sister Rose suddenly arrives and informs all of the veteran priests that Emma isn't eating food, but reacting violently. Therefore, Father Joseph goes into Emma's room and introduces himself to her as the parish priest at St. Joseph's. He notices several letters scattered around the floor, prompting Father to pick them up. Emma reveals that she wrote those letters for her late mother. Then, she gets up from the wheelchair and sits on the bed. Father Joseph begins leaving, but just then, the letters fall onto the floor again, leaving Father confused. He immediately goes to Father Theophilus, asking him to forego the exorcism until Emma is medically properly examined. Father Joseph adds that he has a childhood friend who is a doctor in Salem, and he says he can examine Emma in a week. So I think we should forego the restraints until then. Having been insisted upon by Father Joseph, Father Theophilus stops the further process in Emma's serious matter. Afterward, he goes to see Emma himself and comes up with a conclusion that she isn't well, and this is quite apparent, declaring her dehydrated, malnourished, and tormented. She suffers on levels that we ourselves cannot possibly fathom. So he asks Father Joseph and other sisters to follow his instructions. The Father Theophilus explains that the demon will try to draw them into sin and will do everything to sow discord amongst them. So we have to work in unison because we are the Lord's army in this battle. Moments later, a team of 4, consisting of Father Joseph, Father Theophilus, Sister Rose, and Sister Sarah prepare Emma and begin performing the first exorcism on Emma, who seems disturbed and melancholy. Father Theophilus begins saying the prayer, while Father Joseph takes notes in the corner. At first, Emma Schmidt looks normal, showing no signs of being under the influence of any Satan, but soon she starts becoming restless as the process unfolds. Despite this, Father Theophilus continues the exorcism as he knows very well what is inside Emma's body. He sprinkles the holy water on her, forcing the unseen entity to leave Emma's body for the time being. Then, he concludes the first exorcism and asks Sister Rose and Sister Sarah to take Emma to her bed. At the same time, Father Joseph looks baffled. The next day, the second exorcism is conducted on Emma with more chants and prayers, causing the demon inside Emma's body to feel pain. Possessed Emma briskly gets up from the chair, striking fear into everyone's heart. She approaches Father Joseph and sexually makes him touch her breasts and licks his forearm. Sister Rose and Sister Sarah separate Emma from Joseph. Not long after, Emma grabs Sister Rose and plucks out her hair, causing Sister Rose to go through immeasurable pain. Everyone is left stunned after witnessing such a horrific side of Emma. Mother Superior calls Father Joseph in her office and inquires about Emma's progress. Holding back his pent-up feelings, Father Joseph asks her to question Father Theophilus in this regard. Father Joseph comes out only to find Sister Rose sitting on the bench. He asks after her. Sister Rose tells him that a Dr. Kirkman gave her some ointment which mitigated her pain. The same night, exorcism number 3 is executed on Emma, and Sister Rose has been replaced by Sister Mary Jose for today's exorcism. Sister Mary trembles with fear after seeing Emma in this state, as she has never encountered such a situation. Father Theophilus starts doing the ritual, and Father Joseph begins taking notes. During the 3rd ritual, Emma's hands are tied to the bed. Seconds later, Emma begins to have a seizure, prompting others to help her. Shortly afterward, Emma's body distorts and her eyes become white, implying the presence of a negative energy inside her body. The demon present in Emma's body tells Father Theophilus that all in this room are full of sin. Then, it screams and leaves. At night, Father Joseph's sleep is disturbed by some whispers, but he brushes them off and goes to sleep again. The following morning, he does his duty in church as parish priest, but he continues to experience the troubling scenes from Emma's exorcism. Before the next ritual, Sister Sarah keeps a chaplet for her protection and goes to the room in which the next ritual is being performed on Emma. Emma is quickly possessed by a demonic entity who orders Father Theophilus to get the chaplet removed. Sister Sarah immediately gives up the chaplet in fear. Thereafter, Father Theophilus asks the entity who he is. Instead of answering the question, the demonic entity begins talking about Father Joseph's late brother. This causes Father Theophilus to torment the entity and asks it to reveal itself. Then, the damned soul reveals herself as Mina and threatens Father Theophilus if he does it again. He will eternally regret it. Seconds later, Mina throws up a greenish substance before leaving. Father Joseph returns to his room and sees the framed photo of brother and himself when they were little children, evidently missing him. Afterward, he goes into Emma's room and discovers many torn letters littered around the room. He collects them and begins decoding them after getting back to his room. The following day, Father Theophilus, Father Joseph, Sister Mary and Sister Sarah arrive in Emma's room for the next ritual, but they find Emma's body rotting, which forces them to back off in fear. Despite Emma's pitiful condition, Father Theophilus ties her hands to the bed for the ritual. This forces Father Joseph to tell Father Theophilus that it is getting out of hand, as Emma's body isn't ready for the next exorcism. But Father Theophilus sticks to his guns and continues to prepare for the next ritual. He then begins chanting the prayers, causing the demon present inside Emma's body to sit up. The demon gives Father Joseph a frightening look. She tells Father Theophilus that Satan will soon crush the God of peace. Theophilus identifies the Satan as Judas and asks him why he is tormenting Emma. Judas angrily replies that Emma is rotting from the inside and slaughters herself like a pig. Soon after, the power goes off, plunging the room into darkness. Father Theophilus calls out the spirit to reveal itself, but it doesn't and causes Emma's bed to collapse. Sister Mary and Father Joseph immediately rush to free Emma, but Sister Mary's hand is crushed under the bed while lifting Emma. Father Joseph is furious with Father Theophilus for performing pointless rituals that haven't been helpful in any sense. Instead, two sisters Rose and Mary have been severely injured during these fatal exorcisms. He asserts that Emma just needs a doctor because she is just sick and nothing else. Father Theophilus asks disgruntled Joseph to sit near him and tells him a story about Emma from her childhood, revealing that he has known her since her childhood. He explains that when he first came to Reading, he had just recently become an exorcist. I didn't have the tools, and those assisting me were uneducated too. We couldn't cope with what was happening, but we knew Emma was possessed. So we abandoned her and surrendered her over to the doctors. Sometime later, Emma wrote him letters saying she recovered. She finished her school unaware that the devil was biding his time inside her, waiting for the perfect moment, and then it emerged when Emma's mother died. The devil seized the opportunity, taking over Emma's body again. In the next scene, Sister Rose heads to Emma's room. She gingerly opens the door, only to see something very dreadful. She immediately rushes back to Father Joseph and brings him to Emma's room. Priest Joseph finds Emma sitting naked and covered in blood near the door while the room is in disarray. Father Theophilus rushes and covers Emma with a piece of cloth. Mother Superior also arrives and sees Emma's worsening condition, which forces her to ask Father Theophilus to stop the rituals immediately if Emma doesn't recover within a week. The same night, Father Joseph's childhood friend, who is now a doctor, visits the parish and treats Emma. He explains to Joseph that she is just dehydrated and malnourished, and there is nothing to be worried about. He asks Joseph to let Emma rest to recover quickly. Ritual number 6 starts being conducted on Emma under the supervision of Father Theophilus. Father Joseph approaches Theophilus and asks him to stop the process, but Theophilus pushes him aside and continues the ritual. Soon after, the demon occupies Emma and begins asking Father Joseph why he is going to give up on his post soon. She asks him to hang himself to death to meet his departed brother. This frustrates Joseph and asks Father Theophilus to stop it right now. Joseph comes out of the room, while Father Theophilus continues to do the exorcism on Emma inside. Emma keeps throwing up the green liquid into the bucket, exuding the presence of another unwanted being inside her body. Emma wakes up and gives Sister Sarah a powerful blow. Then she lunges onto the wall like a demon does. The Satan reveals to Father Theophilus that Emma shall bask in the infernal kingdom of hell for eternity. After the ritual, a demon appears in Theophilus' room and warns him if he keeps doing rituals, he will have to pay a heavy price for it. One night, Father Joseph is startled by a sudden noise. He moves toward the wall and hears a sound coming from the other side. Just then, the mirror in the room shatters, terrifying Father Joseph. Not long after, the veins in his arm, where Satan had licked him, began to move violently. Panicked, Joseph grabs a knife and slits his arm. The next day, troubled Joseph visits Father Theophilus and tells him that he is not feeling well. He can't eat, sleep, or think. He confesses that Emma is haunting him. Theophilus gives him a glass of water to help him calm down, then says that's Satan's mission to make us doubt ourselves. Meanwhile, Emma barely gets out of bed, trying to reach for a glass of water, but suddenly becomes furious and starts throwing the glass and other objects in the room. She bursts into tears, as if sick of her life. Father Theophilus performs the final exorcism on Emma, who is tied to the bed in chains. Satan tries to trick Sister Camilla into releasing Emma. Father Theophilus warns her not to listen, as it is not actually Emma, but Satan speaking. Her moment of hesitation causes Satan to lash out at Sister Camilla. Satan grabs Theophilus by the cloak, but the priest manages to scare him away, freeing himself. Moments later, a scream echoes through Emma's room, prompting everyone to check in. Father Joseph and the nuns rush in, only to find Emma escaping into the catacombs. Fear gripping their hearts, they all head to the cellar. Instead of Emma, Father Theophilus hears the demon that has possessed her. Deep in the catacombs, Father Joseph finds Emma lying unconscious across a gate. He quickly calls out to the others. Father Theophilus and Sister Rose arrive and find Emma not breathing. Theophilus pats her back, which causes the demon within to speak, revealing that Emma already belongs to them. Without hesitation, Father Theophilus begins one final exorcism, while Joseph and Sister Rose hold Emma against the wall. Satan does his best to free himself, but finds he is helpless against the prayers. Father Theophilus continues to torment him with relentless chanting. Emma begins to resist the demon as well, and pleads with Theophilus for help. He holds her hand, inadvertently letting the Bible slip from his grasp. Meanwhile, the parish begins to crumble, causing the Mother Superior and the others to tremble with fear. Father Joseph picks up the Bible and continues reading the remaining chants, further tormenting Satan. Ultimately, Father Joseph succeeds in sending the demon back to his realm, saving Emma from his grasp. Father Theophilus asks Emma if it's over. She nods, while Father Joseph sits nearby in a state of fear and confusion.